The story starts with Kalaro stuck in a bad dream. Demons come from the shadows, destroying the world with fire and blood. He wakes up with a start, feeling shaken and short of breath. In his room stands Anna, the woman who raised him from a baby. Kalaro tells her about dreaming he was a hero fighting endless demons. As Anna listens quietly, we discover the truth. Heroes are real and are chosen by a sacred mark. Kalaro will soon be old enough to select his class, but he doesn't care about that. His only wish is to pay Anna back. Later, Kalaro works in the fields harvesting crops, but suddenly, a voice whispers, "Seek the sight of spirits." His body moves on its own. Step by step, he walks to a great lake. From the water rises a fairy, the spirit of the stars. She asks what he desires. Kalaro answers, "The sight of spirits." She grants it, his eyes open to hidden truths. He can now see the very essence of all living beings, but visions strike him, horrifying visions of a future where he becomes a healer-class hero. He is forced to serve others, fighting under them against the Demon King and then betrayal. The Demon King crushes them all. Kalaro is left alone. We see his torment. The kingdom drugged him, forced him to heal. Every wound he closed, every bone he mended, he felt the agony himself. Years of torture ensued until he discovered the secret. His power not only heals, it steals. Every time he heals, he gains the skills and strength of the one he touches. With that, Kalaro turns the tide. He blocks the Demon King's attacks, heals himself instantly, and finally, he kills the Demon King. From its corpse, he takes the Philosopher's Stone. But then Princess Flare appears. She demands the stone. Kalaro laughs bitterly. "I know the kingdom's plan. You want to dominate the world?" He uses the stone. Time rewinds. Flare warns him, "You'll forget everything." But Kalaro's voice is ice. "My mind may forget, my soul never will. I'll make you pay." The vision ends. We return to Kalaro at the lake. He is the same Kalaro who rewound time, now planning his revenge. He poisons himself with hallucinogenic plants, building resistance against drugs. Days later, the hero's mark burns onto his body. The very next day, Flare arrives at his village, searching for the new hero. She sees him and recruits him. Together, they travel for hours until they reach the kingdom's capital, built on the ruins of beastmen villages, its people enslaved. Kalaro is brought to the throne room. The king studies him, senses hidden power when he sees Kalaro's strange drawing of plants. He commands him, "Heal my swordsman. She lost her arm in battle." Kalaro accepts. Later, in his chamber, a maid enters. She undresses, trying to seduce him, but Kalaro, twisted into a weapon, uses his ability to steal her experience. He realizes every maid, every servant can become a tool. Every touch brings more strength stolen. After several days, Kalaro is finally taken to meet the swordsman. She is revealed to be a girl named Sira. Kalaro restores her arm, then collapses on purpose. Flare sneers. "Pathetic. Same rank as me, yet you fall this easily." She whispers to her assistant, "Use any method necessary to make him useful." Kalaro hears it and smiles silently. The mask is slipping. Her true face is showing. Days later, Kalaro refuses to heal anyone. He pretends weakness, recreating the pain of his first life. Flare tries sweet words and soft persuasion, but when he still refuses, she sighs. "Fine, I won't force you anymore." For the first time, she believes she has control, but Kalaro knows the truth. After Sira leaves the room hours later, Flare sends a maid to Kalaro's chamber carrying a cup of tea. He quickly realizes it has been laced with a sleeping drug, yet he drinks it anyway, collapsing to the ground within seconds. When he finally awakens hours later, he finds himself chained inside a dungeon, being tortured by a general named Leo, who is furious because Kalaro has been useless to Flare. Soon, Flare's assistant steps in, forcing him to consume drugs to make him addicted so he can be exploited as nothing more than a healer. From then on, Kalaro is visited daily by warriors who abuse him, beating him down while he is forced to keep swallowing the drugs until, after several days, he finally falls into true addiction, begging Flare in humiliation as she mocks him in countless ways. The next day, Kalaro starts working for the kingdom, healing soldiers and nobles, but as he heals them, he secretly absorbs their skills and techniques, growing stronger in silence. Over 6 long months of slavery, he gains immense power until one day his mind clears and he regains full awareness. Now he is ready to begin his revenge, waiting patiently for the perfect chance. When the king and his royal guards travel to another land, Kalaro uses an alchemy technique to break his chains and escape his cell. Hours later, the guards realize he is gone and begin searching the entire castle. But eventually, Leo manages to capture him and drags him before Flare, declaring that Kalaro has committed an unforgivable crime and must be dealt with privately. So, Flare orders Leo to bring him to her chamber along with her guards. But once inside, Leo suddenly draws a blade and slaughters the guards before incapacitating Flare with ease. In that terrifying moment, the truth is revealed. The man is not Leo at all, but Kalaro himself, who used magic to disguise his face. Flare, horrified, tries to justify her cruelty, claiming she only wanted him not to feel pain while healing. But Kalaro coldly reminds her that such excuses cannot erase 6 months of torment. With chilling calm, He tells her that he remembers every detail, every moment, even if his mind had seemed broken. Then he proposes a game, a sadistic trial. He will break her fingers one by one, and if she can endure without screaming until the last, he will spare her. Flare, trembling, accepts. But as the torture begins, Kalaro uses his power to heal her fingers over and over so the torment can restart endlessly, shocking her until she finally breaks down, screaming in agony after one more snap. Thus, she loses the game. Kalaro immediately uses his power to injure her legs so she cannot stand, forcing her to crawl helplessly across the floor in shame as she desperately tries to escape, declaring that she will never allow herself to be touched by a lowborn like him. But Kalaro seizes a steel bar, heating it until it glows, and he presents her with a choice: either accept him or be burned alive. Terrified of death, Flare chooses him. So Kalaro forces himself upon her in twisted vengeance. When it is done, he tells her he will erase her memory and change her face so she can no longer be who she was. Flare begins begging for forgiveness, weeping and pleading, but Kalaro ignores her cries, continuing with his revenge until finally, when it is finished, he laughs with pure joy, savoring the justice he has carved with his own hands. Afterwards, he drags Flare with him, using the chaos spreading through the castle as cover. But before leaving, he alters a corpse to make it look like Flare's body so that everyone will believe she is dead, even planting the blame for her death on a knight. As he escapes from the capital, he sheds his old skin and prepares for the next stage of his revenge. When Flare awakes, she finds all her memories gone. Kalaro uses his magic to reinforce the spell, turning her into a companion for his journey. He leaves the royal city and arrives in a remote town, a place that calls itself a free city but is filled with corruption and crime. After a day of wandering, he enters a tavern where Flare praises the delicious food, but when Kalaro raises a cup of water to drink, he senses something wrong: poison. The town's water supply is polluted by monster corpses, causing a plague known as the U virus to spread among the residents. Kalaro immediately sees an opportunity. As a healing hero, he quickly devises a formula for a cure. Taking it to a merchant, he proposes a partnership, but the merchant, cautious, doubts how an outsider could hold an antidote. So Kalaro, smiling, gives him 2 samples to test. The merchant orders his servant to drink one first. Within seconds, the servant's long-standing illness disappears, astonishing everyone. The merchant hurriedly drinks the other himself and feels a rush of relief and clarity he has never known. Kalaro then presents 28 more vials, selling them at 1 gold coin each. When the greedy merchant tries to monopolize the trade, Kalaro sets his terms. Prices would be decided by the merchant, but profits would be split evenly. And if he tried any tricks, Kalaro would sell the cure to others. With gold flowing in, Kalaro decides to purchase a slave, heading into the slave market to find a companion. After looking for a long time, he finds none suitable, so the nervous shopkeeper takes him to see the so-called treasure of the shop, leading him down a tunnel into a dark dungeon where diseased slaves are kept. Kalaro's eyes fall upon a poisoned girl from the Icewolf clan, whose sapphire eyes burn with hatred deeper than the abyss. Though the shopkeeper warns that her potential has already peaked, Kalaro buys her, brings her back, and personally feeds her the cure. When she awakes and realizes her first kiss has been stolen, she slaps him hard, but soon introduces herself as Setsuna, a warrior of the Icewolf clan, once living happily with her people until humans invaded. In a desperate attempt to protect her tribe, she fought recklessly, was captured, and her parents were taken as well. Since then, she has been sold into slavery. Upon hearing her tragic past, Kalaro gives her a choice: seize the future with her own hands or give up on the chance for power. With burning hatred, she chooses the future, her strength breaking through as the seed of vengeance sprouts within her. Not long after, they hear cries from nearby, humans abusing another Icewolf girl. Though Setsuna longs to rush forward, Kalaro stops her, warning it is a trap. Moments later, the gates of the Icewolf village burst open as warriors charge into battle. Arrows fill the sky, blood soaks the earth. Yet the Icewolf clan fights desperately for their freedom. Kalaro, seizing the moment, dons a mask and declares himself the sword hero, standing against the humans and their atrocities, unleashing his blade in a flash that drenches itself in blood. Then, turning to the Icewolves, he says he is here in answer to Setsuna's call, pointing his sword at the humans and swearing judgment. But the humans do not falter, and from a distant hill, Flare, now his companion, casts her magic, summoning a massive meteor 100 meters wide that obliterates the battlefield, turning soldiers into ash, a twisted revenge upon her former allies. Then Setsuna herself enters the fray, consumed by fury, striking with no mercy as the Ice Wolf warriors rally behind her, finally releasing the vengeance in her heart. Word of the human army's defeat soon reaches the ears of the kingdom's sword saint. On a sunny afternoon, as Kalaro basks in victory with his companions, Setsuna teasingly praises his ferocity. But suddenly, blades flash. The sword saint herself has come to capture him. Her unmatched swordsmanship cuts Kalaro's cheek in a single strike. Kalaro, ever bold, smirks and even flirts with her in the middle of battle, asking her to dine with him, shocking her with his shamelessness before she swings again, declaring him a criminal who has slain kingdom soldiers. But Setsuna rushes to explain that Kalaro has protected the Ice Wolf clan from the army's slaughter. Though the sword saint's sharp eyes doubt, Flare launches a fireball in anger only to be knocked down instantly. Kalaro, enraged, empowers himself, boosting his speed and strength until he can keep up with her. Blades clash, sparks fly, until in one moment of distraction, the sword saint hurls him 100 meters away. But Kalaro heals instantly, more determined than ever to make her his. Deciding trickery was needed, he hurls a strange potion that dazes her, leaving her flushed and staggering, humiliated to be struck down by such underhanded means. While she struggles, Kalaro steps forward not to kill, but to heal her wounds, leaving her confused and demanding answers. He tells her the truth, that the world she believed in was a lie. The kingdom enslaved and slaughtered beastmen, and she could see for herself if she dared. Then he reveals his true face. The sword saint is shaken, realizing the very man once hailed as a healer is now branded the princess's murderer. She is overwhelmed by the weight of revelations when suddenly a shadow interrupts their confrontation, changing everything yet again. Witnesses confirm the princess of the kingdom has appeared. Though, of course, this princess is the one Kalaro altered with his magic. She tells the sword saint that she herself nearly fell into the kingdom's darkness, but at her most lost moment, the hero of the staff gave her a blazing rod of fire, helping her see the way again. So she begs the sword saint to lend them her strength too, to save the kingdom from the shadows that cover it. With this half-truth and half-lie, Kalaro ensnares the sword saint completely. When the time is right, Kalaro breaks out his intoxicating drink and the two spend an unforgettable night together. While elsewhere, an army begins marching toward Kalaro's hometown, led by a man ruthless enough to mutilate himself with a red-hot iron rod, performing surgery on his own face without anesthesia just to resemble the hero of the staff. Meanwhile, the true staff hero enjoys the company of his three lovers, though with the sword saint alone receiving his affection. The other two grow jealous, breaking the promise of equal love. Just then, soldiers press villagers outside, shouting threats, but Kalaro stands with hands on blades, fearless of any opponent until he sees the villagers are from his own home. In that moment, he sends the sword saint to the capital to gather intelligence. She kisses him goodbye before leaving. Elsewhere, Leonard seethes with rage. For once, Kalaro used him as a scapegoat, even changing his appearance into that of the staff hero. Now, looking at his twisted reflection, Leonard steels himself with mad determination, ripping off his bandages like a deranged monster, a girl trembling behind him as he plans his revenge. The sword saint learns in the capital that the kingdom has branded Kalaro as a cultist, using that as a pretext to invade his homeland. When Kalaro hears this, he decides to strike first, disguising himself as a deserter and slipping into the streets to watch the soldiers transporting villagers. He intercepts one who falls behind and uses his false identity to draw out information, discovering that the soldier once knew the deserter he now impersonates and holds knowledge of the staff hero's movements, hoping Kalaro will put in a good word for him. When Kalaro asks about the ravaged village, the soldier eagerly boasts that only days ago they slaughtered the cultists there, the captain even violating the staff hero's sister in front of everyone. Once the soldier leaves, Kalaro's thoughts burn with memories of Anna, his last pure conscience. Enraged, he vows to make the kingdom pay. That night, still disguised, he lures Leonard into a room filled with intoxicating incense. Leonard, desperate to find the staff hero, does not realize he is already before him until Kalaro drops his disguise and reveals his true self, shocking Leonard, who draws his sword, but collapses once again, caught in Kalaro's trap. Kalaro uses his healing ability to read his memories, seeing scenes of his home destroyed, villagers butchered, and Anna silenced forever. Once he confirms the truth of her fate, he cruelly transforms Leonard into a woman. But even then, Leonard mocks him, until Kalaro summons thugs who frighten him into silence. After dealing with Leonard, Kalaro finds Anna barely alive, but when she sees him, she bites her tongue and ends her own life, unable to believe whether the man before her is truly the child she raised. Though Kalaro casts healing magic again and again, no matter how many times, Anna never returns, leaving him broken.